everybody, Sue here with She Sells, coming to you with another video. I'm going to go off topic a little bit to start this video, so if you only want to hear about reselling, you can skip 5 minutes or so, or just hang on and I'll get back to it in just a couple minutes. I just was thinking today about kindness, and you know, in the past I raised 3 sons and I used to do lots and lots of volunteer work. And I just had this own feeling myself that I had to volunteer evenly between all 3, so I really did my time. But you know, I really did enjoy it. It got to be a little too much on occasion, but I had the time and, you know, just something that I wanted to do. I don't have as much time to do that anymore, and my kids are grown up. Not to say you can't volunteer when your kids are grown up, but I did a lot of things with scouts and church and usually had to do with kids. But you know, I started my business a few years ago and just got busier and busier. So I'll, you know, donate to my favorite causes here and there and that kind of thing. But it kind of hit me a couple weeks back. I was, as you can tell, it's cold again here in Atlanta. We were supposed to have another big snowstorm. They closed the schools, they closed the government offices, they closed a lot of businesses, but we ended up getting nothing. Which, that's to me what happens in Atlanta. When they plan, it doesn't happen, and then they do that a few times and then they get spooked, and so the next time they don't close anything, and that's when we have the big storms. But that's just the way it is around here. If you're not used to the South, this is what happens in the South. We don't really have the snow plows or anything to take care of stuff like that, so, because it just doesn't happen very often. Wouldn't be cost effective. So this is our cycle. But anyway, I was out sourcing, it was in December, I would say, and it was one of those mornings that started out really warm, probably in the high 50s. And as the day went on, it just got colder and colder. It was maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was pulling up to this store, and it was inside a town I rarely go to, but I was trying to hit all of this one certain store, so I went ahead and went in that area. It's not the better part of town, not the worst either, but it's a little bit poorer part of town. Anyway, I saw this lady standing out front holding a sign, and it was about a sale at some carpet store. Something, I don't even remember the store exactly. But obviously she had dressed for the morning weather. And she had gloves on, but just kind of thin gloves and a jacket. And she was just shivering. I could just feel how cold she was when I passed by. So I went in the store that I was going to shop in, and I looked for like gloves and maybe a warm coat. I was looking for those hot hands, little packets that warm your hands. I didn't really find what I was looking for. It's kind of one of these outlet stores that have what they have at the time. I did find some nice warm gloves, and I got a big blanket, and couldn't find the hot hands. And I went back outside and gave her the items, helped her wrap the blanket around herself, and held her sign while she put the gloves over her gloves. And she just was very appreciative. You know, I kind of left there feeling like I wish there was more I could have done for her. And she had said to me, she's like, this isn't worth $40 for the day. And I just really felt for her, because she was out there trying to take care of herself and her family or whomever. And, you know, just really withstanding those cold temperatures. Anyway, I decided that afternoon that once I found those hot hands, and I found a big bag of them, like at Costco or one of those kind of stores, and I just decided to carry them around in my car, so when I see somebody I can hand them out. I used them myself one time when I was standing in line for that same store, that same, not that particular outlet, but anyway, I used them one night as I was standing in line waiting to get into a sale. But I just say that to say, you know, do something kind for somebody one day. I was shopping in one of my stores and bought all 4 of this game, and the lady, the cashier, I bought a whole bunch of stuff, and the lady was saying that she was a teacher, and she goes, oh, my kids would love this game. Maybe I'll get one. But I had taken all 4 of them. And so I bagged up all my stuff and went out to the car, and then I put one in a bag and brought it into her, and and she just was so appreciative. And I mean, it was $15 or something, you know, but just do something kind for somebody someday. I was in a McDonald's last year drive-through. I think I was just getting a cup of coffee or maybe a biscuit for breakfast or something. I don't eat there too much. And somebody in front of me paid for my meal. And I was so surprised, and it was such a good feeling that I paid for the person behind me. I was hoping they hadn't bought, you know, the whole office something. Anyway, I just say that, you know, our world needs a little more kindness. Do something nice for somebody today. So that's just my 2 cents, and I'll get off my soapbox now and talk about reselling. Well, you know, it's January. It's just about over, but I hear a lot of people complaining about returns, and you hear about that all year, but really you get more returns in January probably than any other month. So I just thought I would look up my statistics so I could speak informatively. I knew my return rate isn't very high, but some days, sometimes this month I've gotten like 3 or 4 returns in a day, and it's kind of like, really more? But when I add them all up, so what I did was I pulled up all my sales for December, and this is just on Amazon. So I sold 2,527 items, and I looked up my returns from December 26th till today, and I had 63 returns. I made notes, and I forgot how many went back into my inventory, so hold on just 1 second. I want to say 21, but I wrote it down just so I would be correct. Okay, 23 were returned to me and went right back into inventory, so I'll just resell those. The other items came back either defective or just didn't want it. All the defectives I get returned to me, I want to look it over and make sure. Sometimes it's perfectly fine, but I don't want to let anything slip back into Amazon that shouldn't be there, because I only sell brand new. I take that back. I mean, occasionally I do sell some appliances, some like small kitchen appliances used that aren't available on the market anymore, but 99.5% of what I sell is new on Amazon, so I don't want anything to go out by accident that's not new. So when those things come back to me, I take a look at it. Occasionally it's perfectly fine, never even been opened, totally sealed, and I end up sending it back into Amazon. Next, I'll think about putting it on eBay. I'll look it up, I'll see what it'll bring. You know, if I'm only gonna even make a couple dollars on it, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on eBay, unless there's 10,000 of them and I don't think it'll sell. But what the heck, it's, you know, free, or if I've made all my listings for the month, I don't have a store. It's 10 cents, so, you know, what's that gonna hurt? 5 minutes of my time taking a few pictures, putting it up, see if I can sell it on eBay. The other option I have is selling it on Facebook Marketplace. And yeah, sometimes it can be a little bothersome, but I've kind of got my system now for Facebook Marketplace, and I actually sold quite a bit during December there. Toys that I had bought, you know, in too big a quantity. I bought a lot at Toys R Us going out of business. Some things I bought knowing that I had sold them in 2017 and 2016 Q4. They always sell, they do well at Q4. One item in specifically was the Thomas the Train, the little cars. Just the little individual cars. I've sold those really well over the past couple Christmases, and I tried to pick out there's certain characters that usually always do well. I mean, I paid anywhere from $2.99 to $4.99 for them, so they weren't, you know, huge, but one of them I actually ended up with 17 extra ones. So I had, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 of these cars. So what I did was put them on Facebook Marketplace. I showed the 6 different characters that I had and said $5 each, or 5 for $25. And I actually sold quite a few that way. Now, this isn't something I recommend to do just anywhere, but I live on the end of a dead-end street, quiet neighborhood, pretty safe place. So I do what they call porch pickup. So people come, you know, they let me know they're going to purchase something, give me a time frame. What I'll usually tell them is let me know a little bit before you're going to come and I'll have it out on the porch for you. Little do they know I just put it out there in the morning. I've got like a Rubbermaid container. I was buying something on Facebook Marketplace and ran across somebody doing this, and it made me start doing Facebook Marketplace a little bit more, because in the beginning when you go meet people at places, and I mean in certain circumstances, maybe your area or whatever, you're going to have to do this, so this won't always work for you. But I have a Rubbermaid container out on the front porch, and I have a covered front porch. There's no door or anything, but it's covered. And then I put it inside a Rubbermaid container. And a lot of times I'll put it in a little shopping bag with their name on it and how much they owe. They can leave the money in the Rubbermaid container, or sometimes they pay by PayPal ahead of time. Either way, I don't mind doing it either way. And yeah, occasionally I have somebody that doesn't show up. Now, if they've paid already ahead of time, they usually show up. I don't think I've ever had anybody not pick up something that they paid for ahead of time. But that was another thing I started doing. It's kind of irritating, you know, you post something and they say, oh, can you hold this for me till Friday? And I used to say, you know, sorry, no holds, check back with me Friday. But what I started to say was, I can't hold it, but if, well, I don't say I can't hold it. I say I can only hold if you PayPal. And I was really surprised how many people went ahead and paid me. So that worked pretty well. And again, you know, if somebody bought 5, I think only one person bought 5. I might have lost $2 on that. But with some being $2.99 and some being $5.99, and nobody bought, or sorry, $4.99, what I paid for them. Nobody bought, you know, 4 James or 5 James that all cost me $4.99. So on some sales I made $1 or $2, but my whole point was just not to have the loss of that capital. I really just wanted to get my capital back. So I did pretty well with that. I am actually going to turn off right now because I am in a really congested freeway spot, and I will get back to you shortly. Alright, been to one stop already. Tried to talk as I was driving on the way to my next stop, but the sun is just so extreme today that I had to pull over and try and find a little bit of shade. I'm still kind of in... I'm in the shade, but I guess there's a little sun peeking through the trees there. But anyway, so last Friday I came to you with that video, and it was one of those days where I couldn't go anywhere without buying stuff, and I just filled up my entire truck. Took the RAV today, and I did one stop. I probably spent almost at least 45 minutes in that Walmart and found $50, and that was almost kind of pushing it on 1 or 2 items. I mean, anyway, it's just not always fun. It's not always a great day, but you just keep on going. So back to returns. So I had said that I'll actually give you my exact numbers because I was a little bit off when I said it before. I sold 2,547 items on Amazon in December. I had 61 returns from December 26th till today. And then I did have 23 that were sellable that went right back into the Amazon warehouse. So, all right. So I sold some on eBay. I sold some on Facebook Marketplace. I had a good amount of stuff left. I'd say maybe $1,200. Altogether, I probably had about $2,000 in unsellable items over 2018. But if you take into account that I probably bought $125,000 worth of product, that's really not that bad. You know, some of it was items that got returned damaged. Some of it was just items that I bought at Toys R Us and did really well for a while. I mean, some people might say you could still keep it and sell it over time. I just wanted a fresh start for January. Some of it was bedding that I bought at the Babies R Us going out of business. Did real well at the beginning. Prices kind of dropped on it. I sold all the complete bedding sets. These were just the bumper sets, and I guess they're not that popular anymore. I mean, the prices just went down on them. So I tried to sell those on eBay. I tried to sell those on Facebook Marketplace. I did sell some there, but I mean for nothing. I literally had them down to $5, and they were, you probably $70 sets from Babies R Us, but I paid probably between $17 and $24 on those. So I was really just trying to get rid of them. Put them down to $5, and I did sell a few at $5. I even tried to call the baby consignment stores or kid consignment stores, and I probably almost would have given it to them, but 3 different ones told me they don't sell baby bedding anymore. So, I mean, and it was brand new in the package. None of that was returned. So I just ended up donating those to a pregnancy crisis center, and they were appreciative of that, so I got rid of those there. The last thing I did was just post a quick, I called it a pop-up toy sale, middle of the week, between this hour and that hour, just put it out in the driveway, literally rolled my shelving out into the driveway, and so I was able to kind of stay inside working and just watch out there. I mean, I think I had 3 or 4 customers, but I did post it on Facebook Marketplace, and a friend of mine in Tennessee saw it. She bought a lot. It cost me $40 to ship it because it was probably 35 pounds. I shipped it FedEx. So she spent over $100. And then I had another reseller come, and she probably bought about $100 worth. And then the rest of it I just donated. And everybody has their own ideas, their own way of doing things. To me, it was more valuable to have that space back in my basement, put that capital back into working, and then just write it off for 2018 and just be done with it. Just a note, and I'm not an accountant, I'm not a CPA, although I do use one. Oh, this is just driving me crazy. You can't, I'm not a tax person, so don't take my advice, check with your own person, but you can't write off your loss and write off the donation, so you have to do one or the other. So I did donate it, but I don't take a second donation. It's just gone as a write-off. Anyway, like I said, everybody does business their own way. To me, it was more valuable to just have that space left over. Clean start for January. And I'll gather it up again. I think the year before, I just sold it all to one reseller, and just gave them a price for all of it and got rid of it all at one time. So there's that too. But that I had more variety of product, and a lot of that was more open package kind of things. A lot of it still had good value, but most of what I was getting rid of now was things, like I said, that just over time lost a lot of value. Seems like there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. So I just want to go back to the last thing, just talking about returns. Don't just think in your mind, gee, I had so many returns, I'm getting all these returns. Look at your numbers. It's likely that it's, less than 2%. I mean, mine was less than 1%. It was like 0.02. It felt a few days when I got 3 and 4 on the same day. I was thinking in my mind, gee, I'm getting a lot more returns than last year. I know I had a lot more sales, but I thought, even accounting for a lot more sales, I felt like I was getting a lot of returns. But when I looked at it on paper, it really wasn't a lot of returns. So look at the facts, look at your numbers. If you're a business person, you should be reading your numbers. You should be knowing and understanding these things. So with that, I'll just say, see you next time, and do the YouTube, subscribe, like. Appreciate all the comments. I've gotten some really nice comments. And let me know, if you have any questions or anything specific you want to talk about. I am next going to be purchasing a repricer for myself, so I probably will discuss that once I really can understand and explain it to you. See you soon. If once you do check your numbers and you see I am, say I'm at 5% or 6%, you say you sell a smaller number of items. Well, look at what's being returned. Did you have several of the same item returned? Do you have a certain category that's got a lot of returns? If you don't want to deal with those returns anymore, maybe change categories. Maybe stop selling that particular product. But again, really look at the numbers, crunch the numbers, and see if you can figure out what to do about it at that point.